So your partner doesn't want to save the relationship. There are several things I want you to consider and do if this is your situation. First, you really need to understand them in this moment, because a lot of times people will say, I don't understand why they won't even just work on it. Why they won't even just try, and they're just going to throw all this time and all these experiences away. Well, for starters, usually what has happened is that they've had a lot of time with this where they feel like they've been working on it. And this is not something that just happened overnight, but they've had months, maybe even years, to where they've thought about it. They've tried, they've talked to you, and maybe they haven't been direct, or maybe they have in terms of saying, I'm not sure I want to continue with this. But in their mind, they have actually put effort in it and they've worked on it. And they have come to the conclusion that it's not going to work and or it's not something they want anymore. And that's very key. If you can understand that they are in that spot, that the idea of working on it might even sound overwhelming to them just because they feel like they have. They feel like after all this time where I have been working on it, and now you finally want to work on it too, and you're expecting me to do that, a lot of times that can really cause them to even feel anxiety and to feel pressure they don't want to feel and to just feel exhausted with the situation. So if you know that, that's the shape that they are in, that that's the case that you are dealing with them, then it will really help your perspective and how you address them and talk to them, because you need to see this as something where they are at the end of their rope, or at least that's what it feels like to them. Whereas you think, okay, we just need to work on it. They think we have already done that and I feel like I'm done. That might sound scary to you, but I'm going to give you some solutions that hopefully can help you to actually save your relationship, to reunite with this person if they've left, and to at least give you the best chance of getting those things. Number 2 is you need to know what pushes them away and what pulls you toward them. Because a lot of times in a situation like this, all that the person in your shoes wants to do is to talk about the issues, to talk about what's gone wrong, to talk about the future. Like, we've got to try to work this out. Are we going to be together? What do you want? Are your feelings different? Have your feelings changed? Do you feel love for me again? And so they feel all this pressure, and they feel like they are needing to perform, or that they're going to give you the wrong answer and it's going to turn into drama or an argument or crying or emotions, things like that. And so for them, it's a big negative. In a lot of ways, it feels like a lose-lose situation. And that will definitely push them away from you. They will want to try to go the other direction. They will want to escape that pressure. And so it feels like you're pulling them towards you because you think, well, yeah, let's work on this. Let's talk it out. That's what we hear, is that if you just sit down and talk about it, why, you can fix anything. That's not true. As a matter of fact, it's ridiculous. A lot of times, that's not what you need to do. That doesn't mean you don't need to talk, but it doesn't always mean that you need to talk about the issues and you need to try to fix this thing before the end of the day. That's usually what pushes them away to strong degree. Not just a little bit, but sometimes to the point where they get angry, they feel hate towards you, they don't want to be around you, and they move out, they leave, they don't want to interact with you at all because you push them away. If you want to pull them towards you, if you want to attract them towards you, then what you actually want to do is create positive experiences. Have small positives with them. Maybe that's laughing at a joke. Maybe it's just being light and playful and not bringing up the heavy-duty drama or the issues. Everybody wants to talk about the issues, but a lot of times the real issue is that attraction has fallen. And that's what you need to bring back. And how you do that is not by talking about it. Why aren't you attracted to me? Why have your feelings faded? Those are absolute garbage questions most of the time. When you already know that that's what has happened, talking about it is beating a dead horse, to use a cliche, but it's also something that makes them feel like, yes, this is how I feel, and I've got to defend my position. And so they can actually exaggerate, make you out to be a monster, and it actually makes them feel like nothing has changed. Because let's say that they maybe do feel just slightly a little bit better. The concern here is they don't want you to be led on, because then they feel like you are going to have a lot of expectations about them. You're going to start thinking, okay, good, we're back together. And then they're starting to feel the pressure of that because they aren't there yet. And they don't want to lead you on because they don't want you to assume you're back together when you're not. And so it's best not to do those temperature checks, not to ask them if they're feeling differently, if their feelings have improved, things like that, because you certainly don't want to put a magnifying glass on it if they haven't. What you want to do is actually to just do the things that will create a positive experience for them. You want to be playful, flirty, romantic even, without trying to dissect and overanalyze things. What is it that they like to do? Instead of focusing on trying to fix it, trying to have these difficult conversations, focus on positives for them. What is it that they need from you? Just do those positives. That way you can actually pull them towards you instead of trying to get them to commit or trying to get them to work on things or trying to get them to see how hurt you are or even becoming emotional in front of them. Those things, while I understand them and they're natural and I'm not faulting you if you've done those things, I'm telling you that what you want to do is actually do the things that attract them to you, and that's certainly not going to do it. Number 3, stay in the moment. Stay in the present. Because see, when you actually start to cause even more pressure on the situation to where they just want to leave and escape is when you leave the moment and you start talking about the future. What's going to happen? Are you going to stay or are you going to leave? And you get into all those things. Are your feelings going to change? Are you going to miss me? You see, a lot of these things, they can't even predict to begin with. And so asking them, to them, it even seems a little bit ridiculous and pointless because they don't know. And you're really just scratching the scab off instead of letting it heal. The way that it heals is by, as I mentioned in the previous point, doing the things that you would do in a healthy relationship anyway, doing the things that attract this person. And if you stay in the moment where you're not putting pressure on them for the future, you're just enjoying what you have. You're letting them stay in the moment too, where you're not even talking about a breakup, a separation, a divorce, or anything like that. You're letting them experience right now with you. And if you can do that with them enough, over time, you will be successful oftentimes in reattracting them and giving them back that motivation to want to be with you. And the more that you talk about those things directly, the more you kind of clinicalize it and make it to where that's all that's being talked about. And the focus is on the fact that they don't want to be in the relationship, which actually makes them feel that more. They actually realize, wow, I don't, because all we're talking about is the fact that I don't want to be in the relationship. So I don't want to be in the relationship because why would I want to be part of that constantly over and over, day after day, minute after minute? So the best thing you can do, since you already have the information, you already know that their heart is not where you want it to be. You already know that they are thinking about leaving or want to leave or have left. And so when and if you get to interact with them, it should not be just to talk about the negatives and put more pressure on them and try to predict the future and talk about what could happen in the future if you two break up or will you get back together. All those things, if you can focus on the present instead, focus on this moment being positive, this moment being something that they would like to experience in the future, to experience with you. Show them what the relationship could be like. Before I get to number 4, get some more information about my Relationship Reignite workshop. It's a powerful workshop where you get to actually spend 12 hours with me over 3 days. And I can really get into the situation that you are dealing with. And then we have follow-up coaching with me months after the workshop to make sure that you have the best shot at this and to help you as certain situations come and go and things change. The workshop is called Relationship Reignite. And you can get more information about it at relationshipreignite.com. You can also check the description where I have a direct link to it and you can just click and go there. So get more information on that workshop. It's for relationships and marriages in crisis. If you want to save your relationship, this is how you take it seriously and you really get professionals who are on my staff and myself to help you to get this reignited, to save your relationship. Number 4, this is more about your emotions, but realize that you don't have to save it today. This is a marathon. It's almost never a sprint. And if you feel like it's a sprint, if you feel like you have to save it today, you will inevitably do the wrong things. You will put pressure on them because you feel like you're on a time clock, like they are hanging over the side of the cliff and you've got your hand out and they're slipping. That's not what's going on. If you see this more as a marathon and something that requires your patience and that you can't get back all at once, you will give yourself a much better chance, and you will be more attractive too. Because have you ever been around someone? Maybe you were the one wanting to leave and the other person was desperate. Understandably so, but consider what it feels like to be on the other side of that. When this other person is really emotional, really pushing you, trying to make you commit right then, trying to make you tell them what the future is going to be like and if your feelings are going to change. It's certainly not something that makes you want to be around them, and it's pretty stressful, and it can really cause anxiety. It can just make you not want to be involved. So keep that in mind. You don't want to be that person on the other side. You don't have to save it today. What you want to do is have a long-term approach to this, because time is actually part of the equation here, and I talk about that a lot in other videos. But time to work on them, it's like a cake in the oven. Let it bake. You can't turn up the heat and get the cake sooner. You'll just get a bowl of mush with burn spots in it. So take that pressure off of yourself. Before I get to the final point, take a quick second and subscribe to this channel so you can be notified when I have more videos like this that can help you get an ex back, can help you reignite with a lost love, save a marriage, and enrich a relationship. Number 5, start over with this person. Be curious. Remember how when you first maybe started dating them, you wanted to know about them. You asked questions, not difficult questions like the ones that I talked about, where it's like, are you going to feel differently tomorrow? Are we going to be together? Are you done for good? Do I have a chance? It wouldn't make any sense at all for you to do that on the first date, because it's completely out of context. It doesn't make any sense for you to ask that. And so many times I have seen it to where if the person will back up and start over, consider your pursuit of this person as going back to the beginning. That's when you're focusing on attraction and you're focusing on them having a positive experience and you having a positive experience. You're focusing on fun. It's more lighthearted. It's designed so that both of you will want to do this again. You'll want to have date number 2. You see, you're thinking marathon at that point. You're not thinking sprint. And of course, your passion might be thinking sprint, but we all know that you want to try to take things kind of slowly, but you also want to focus on getting to know them and having a good time with them. But be curious. Ask them questions about things that they are passionate about. Those things that you would have done when you first started dating them. You're starting the process of attracting them all over because they are unsure, probably more so than they were on the first date. And you have to consider it that way and start over with them. If you view it that way, as though I'm not trying to put all this pressure on this moment and save it right now, but I'm actually going to take a step back and I'm going to start over and I'm going to do things that I need to do to build that attraction back. It's a situation where there's less pressure on you, but it's also so much more effective because you can actually reattract them. You can start the process instead of pushing them away and making them feel like all of their interactions with you are negative and putting pressure on them to say that they've changed their mind or changed their heart and that now they want to get back together when they aren't sure or they don't want to. And so you're not getting anywhere with that. So what you need to do is give them a reason. Give them lots of reasons. Again, get more information on my Relationship Reignite workshop with the link in the description below or at relationshipreignite.com. Thanks for subscribing. This has been Coach Lee, and as always, thank you for watching.